first off, I guess I just want to ask Alan, I know you've been wanting to direct a feature film for some time. Can you just talk about how you and your co-writer settled on this treasure hunt?
I was looking for subject matter that seemed larger than life, and this is it. Cicada 331 has all that. So I really enjoyed getting to know the scavenger hunt of it all, the game of it all, and watching people solve these puzzles over the years, and the lore that built around that. Where it said that many people that solved these puzzles disappeared and were never heard from again, and so it became stuff of legend pretty quickly. As we got closer to production, realized I actually want to direct this thing. And when I wrote it, I hadn't done that yet. And so, I decided I'm going to take the directing thing on, and I'm going to find somebody better for the role. And so I was lucky to have Jack Kessie. And then I had a lot of fun with Agent Carver and playing a bit of the comedic relief. And so, I got to have some fun in front of the lens too. But this eventually just became a fun vehicle for me to try my hand at directing.
Yeah. And then I was going to say, for Conor, how was it working with Alan as a director? I assume it's got to be a very different dynamic than from when, the two of you are on set.
I think, so I think everyone does think that, we did a lot of scenes together on Titans before we filmed Cicada, and we filmed Cicada very shortly after we wrapped Titans. But Alan was prepping to film, because we filmed both in Toronto. But Alan was prepping to film Cicada while we were right as we were finishing up Titans. And so he and I didn't have a lot of scenes together because I didn't show up in Titans till really the end of season 1. Yeah. And so we didn't work a lot together as co-stars. So working together really did start on this project with him as in the director's seat. And so that was a really cool way for us to get to know each other. And then we returned to Titan season 2, and, we're getting to know each other as co-stars. But it was actually the reverse, contrary to what I think a lot of people think. And so it was a really cool way for me to get to see him firsthand. It was kind of navigating this ship of something he's written and is producing and directing and acting in. I have a lot of respect for him for even taking that on, because some people try and do 2 of the hats, really. They'll maybe write and direct it, but they won't put themselves in front of the camera, or they'll produce it and maybe be in it, but all 4 of that's a lot. So I give him a lot of credit for juggling all of that at once and then coming back for season 2, just like that.
And Alan, what was it about Conor having her in the film as well?
I mean, look at her. She's brilliant. She's one of the smartest people I know. She's smart. She's funny. She's easy on the eyes. She's like the perfect leading lady. I'd be an idiot not to see if I could get her in the film. But but one thing that she has that I think is really special is that she hasn't concocted some sexualized persona for herself, and she leads with her mind. She's got this beautiful personality, but every conversation that you have, I know a lot of girls, especially in the business, that they use that as their business card, their sexuality, and I just don't get that from Conor. I never have, and Gwen is a character that we really wanted to focus on making cool because she was smart, and savvy, and driven, and just all the best characteristics of a woman, minus that, because it's just not the most interesting thing a lot of time, in my opinion. So she was the character already. So just made it really easy.
And I need to ask about some of the more fantastical elements of the film, when he's telling the story and has these embellishments, like the NSA's dressing like sexy gun babies, and
right.
You at the end storming the scene looking like a naked Ken doll. It's just where do those ideas
I'm reading
this
script and trying to understand that, by the way. I remember reading it and being like, all right, I got my version of it in my mind. What is this going to look like? So that was
some of that was a team effort. I got to give. So I had a version of this script. It wasn't very good. I called my buddy Joshua Montcalm, who's a much better writer than I am. And I asked him to take a pass at it. And he brought all that to life, like the best parts of the script. He brought it to life. And it helped kind of unlock it for me. And I was like, you're right. This is how we make this a really fun action, comedy, thriller, adventure, how we blend all the genres. And really, he opened up the world for me in a big way. So I credit him for that. And then, with one of my favorite scenes is the one that you mentioned in the end where the agents, Carver and Sullivan, NSA agents that have been sort of forcing this whole, they're the antagonists in a way. They bust in like BDSM outfits, half naked, and at this party,
more than half naked. And I was at a production meeting and all the keys were there, all the department heads, and I was like, guys, here's something that's on the page. Can we go further? Am I missing something? What's the most humiliating thing that I can walk in and do? And my first AD, my first assistant director, who's he's brilliant, and he's an amazing director himself. So he's full of ideas. He came up with what's in the film? He came up, he goes, well, what about this? And I died laughing. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my life. And I was like, done. And they're like, how are you even can you do that? Is that how do we even do that? And I'm like, that I can figure out, the idea is brilliant. And so I made it in. So it was a group effort. How can we humiliate me as much as possible? And everybody was happy to pipe in. And Conor, did it live up to what went through your mind when you read
it was
the script?
Better. It was so wild. And I remember getting to set and seeing the props that were being used. And I was like, I couldn't have made this up in my mind if I tried. Like, this is the most, and that's kind of when I knew that like, this would be, I was like, this is going to be just entertaining. Like no one has seen something like this. And it's going to be so like, and I think that's what those moments, like it gets super, like action and serious, and then it just like pivots another way. And I thought it was hilarious and brilliant and really funny. And just so unexpected.